Do you remember in a day how many times you throw trash in the dustbin? Several, right? You throw all kinds of wastes in it. Leftover food, paper, pencil shavings, rubber pieces, broken toys and whatnot. If you continue throwing trash in it for a few days, can you imagine what the bin would look like? An overflowing garbage dump, often encountered on streets. Mosquitoes and flies swarming over it, and that awful stench. How unhygienic that would be. So, every morning you either empty the garbage in the local bins or a sweeper collects it from your house. Your job is done. But have you ever wondered where this garbage finally ends up? Why should you care? Well, remember, what you throw as garbage can impact your environment. So, let's hop on to see where the garbage is taken from here.
Improperly constructed wells result in contaminated groundwater. Improperly abandoned wells can act as a conduit through which contaminants can reach an aquifer. Improper construction of the well can cause outside water and other accompanying contaminants to enter the well. Often pesticides and fertilizers are applied in the immediate vicinity of wells on agricultural land. Active and abandoned mines can cause groundwater to be contaminated. This is because abandoned mines are often used as wells. These are some ways groundwater can be contaminated.
One day, we will wake up to find that the energy that powers the alarm clock came from the breeze through the trees the night before. And we will go to work that morning riding the rays of the sun. It will light our cities and power our businesses. It will warm our homes and cool our workplaces. It will reduce sources of conflict and fuel our economies. It will connect us all. It won't scar the land or poison the seas. The food we eat will be good for our bodies and good for the planet. And the weather that day won't make us worry for tomorrow. There will be more jobs and less disease. The sea level will stop rising. And species will stop dying. The question is, how do we get to that day from where we are today? All 7.3 billion of us. We start by deciding that beyond our doubts and differences, such a day truly exists. And that is something each of us can do today. We can make today the day we stop thinking that the changes required to get there are impossible and beyond us, and start realizing that they are not only possible, but what the future requires of us. We must stop turning from the warnings of science and fear and denial, and instead turn toward the solutions and partnerships we need. We can make today the day we stop pointing at each other in blame, and instead chart a new course together. We have never faced a crisis this big, but we have never had a better opportunity to solve it. We have everything we need to wake up to a different kind of world. We need our leaders to be brave and their choices to be bold. They will either remember us as the generation that destroyed its home, or the one that finally came to respect it. We have every reason in the world to act. We can't wait until tomorrow. This is our only home. You can choose today to make a world of difference.
Plastic bags are good at holding groceries, but how are they at powering a house? Most of us don't think so much about trash, especially if we live in an industrialized country where we get curbside pickup. But here are some important statistics. 32% of municipal waste is recycled. Another 13% is incinerated, and that leaves the rest, which is over 50%, or 1,000 pounds per year per American citizen, to sit in a landfill to decompose, or not decompose. You see, most metals and plastics can take thousands of years to break down in a landfill. And because we have future generations on the way and they're going to be generating their own waste, this is something we have to think about. Well, how does the stuff get to the landfill in the first place? There's some places that have gotten a little creative with this, like Helsinki, Finland. They're building out a system of pneumatic tubes. So what you do is you sort your waste and you put it in various bins or chutes, and then it flies through these tubes to screw tanks. There are other places like Roosevelt Island, New York, that are doing the same thing, but the one in Finland has some special features. For example, those tanks have sensors on them, so they can alert you to when those tanks are full and a crew can come out and empty it out. They also can track where the trash comes from. That's important. It means that they know who is generating the most garbage, like a manufacturing plant, and those people get charged more for collection services. But that still leaves us with the problem of what to do with all these landfills. 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. No, we're not going to shoot it out into space. That doesn't make economic sense. The environmental impact would be terrible. I mean, you might as well pay people $1 million to pour a gallon of oil in the nearest river. But an idea that is getting some traction is plasma gasification. In this process, extremely high voltage electrical current is passed between two electrodes, generating a temperature near 25,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. Because this process takes place in a no-oxygen environment, there's no actual burning going on here. Instead, that energy is breaking down the molecular bonds of the trash itself, freeing the component atoms. They become either a synthetic gas or molten slag. And here's the really awesome part. That synthetic gas can actually be turned into fuel that will run the plasma waste converter itself. And if you generate enough synthetic gas, you can actually generate enough electricity to feed back into the power grid. And what about the landfill that's not in a landfill? There are islands of plastic floating in the ocean, like one in the Pacific that's about the size of Texas. What do we do about those? Bacteria are really good at getting rid of stuff. Could we use that? A student in Canada back in 2008 tried to do just that and isolated the bacteria and found that it could break down plastic in about 3 to 4 months. But whether you could make that a large-scale operation is another question. Maybe the solution is in new design. Biopolymers, plastic not made of corn, but from bacteria, with a half-life of 18 months. We're talking plastics that actually biodegrade in the sea. Now, the nano-optimists out there say that nanotechnology will save us. We'll create these little nanobots that'll break the garbage down into its component atoms. Now, as for me, personally, I think the best kind of trash is no trash at all. We've got a question for you. How would you solve the trash problem? Leave a comment and tell us your answer. And make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel because we've got some more amazing videos about the future coming really soon.